So what's this guy's problem? Oh, he's just got a stick of his butt. Ha 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 ha. Welcome everybody to another Spookytoberfest video. I'm Doc Eon, and I've done some more work on these Soul Reavers. See, I've put the riders together partially, top and bottom halves. I've decided, again, something different from what I've talked about previously. I was talking about assembling everything before painting, but now I'm thinking I'm painting riders and horses separately. That's why the pin. So this pin, I actually drilled before inserting the pin. Before attaching everything, I drilled straight through the plastic and a little bit into the metal, and then I put the pin and glue and everything together at the same time. So it needs a little bit of gap filling and attaching the right arm with the lance, which won't need any gap filling, I think, because it's kind of covers the entire shoulder joint. It's going to be flush. Now, the Vampire Lord I haven't assembled yet. I can't. I'm not going to drill all the way through this. And also, there is a molded, very good nub in his lower body. This hole, on the other hand, I had to drill that myself. There was nothing there, and I had to even it out. And once that fits together, which way is it? That way. Yeah, gonna be a little gap filling there. I prepared a hole in his ass as well for a pin, a smaller pin. And in his case, the right arm is already attached. Now, with the horses, all I've done since last time is simply put them on these bases and place them so they're kind of straight and centered. And this one is also glued to a base. Now, I was talking about where their tails are before, and I realized these are skeleton horses. They don't have any tails. They don't have any manes either. There's no hair or flesh left on them. Well, there's tiny rags of flesh, perhaps. They're zombie horses. Let's say that, not skeletons. This one is not, however. This is some sort of demon horse, a nightmare or something, which is appropriate for the Lord to ride on. And, well, I'm going to continue finishing assembly and prep of these, and I'm going to green stuff probably the horses, and I'll be back when I've got something more to show you. And here's a quick look at what the fully assembled and gap-filled dudes look like. You can see the putty I put down in the gap between upper and lower body, and maybe here inside the right arm shoulder joint. I've also filled in a little bit, just to be safe. And now I'm going to go ahead and prime these. Be back after that. And here's an example of what one of these guys looks like primed. I primed it white because, well, I considered priming it black because it's mostly armored, but then I thought the few areas that are not armored I want to be bright. I want very pale skin, for example, and bright colors on the cloth. And it's more difficult to do that over black. While adding a dark undercoat over the white primer is not an issue. It's really, really simple for the armor. Now, these were primed by hand with a brush, and one issue you can run into with that is air bubbles. It doesn't look too bad here. I think I mainly avoided that issue. But the thing is, even if you do get some, this lance is kind of crooked. Not much I can do about that. But you know, I can straighten it, but it's going to be bent in any case at some point. If you do get air bubbles, you can pop them when you put the next layer of paint on. When you put on a base coat, that's gonna hide or make those bubbles go away. Well, now you've seen that, moving on to the next step. And here we see the horses with green stuff applied to them to fill in the cracks and gaps, and also to fill out the, to even out the edges between the molded bases and the other base. That's not very carefully done. This stuff here is not very carefully laid out because this is going to be covered up with basing grit later on. Now this is still soft, it needs time to cure. I usually leave it for 24 hours and then I'm going to put on basing grit and apply 2 layers of PVA glue, giving each of those 24 hours to dry, which means I'm not going to prime these and start painting them until in 3 days. That is on Friday. In the meantime, I'm just going to keep working on the riders, so they will get finished first. Now, this is not perfectly even and smooth, but once it's cured, I'm going to maybe go at it with a sander and smooth down some of these, at least on top. Now, yeah, that's the plan for the horses. So I've undercoated the riders in the dark brown color. It's this color here, charred brown, which is a very nice deep reddish brown. It's my go-to color for any kind of, when I needed this dark brown color. As I said, it's an undercoat. It's kind of patchy in places. That doesn't matter because the reason I have it is that most of these models, I'm going to paint them like a bronze armor, the same way as in the cover art, and perhaps a bit brighter on the leader here, the Lord. And this brown is simply an undercoat to have something underneath the metallic, because metallics often don't cover very well, and if something is shining through, I want it to be at least something relevant to a bronze. And brown is better than black in this case. I have not put it on the faces and the hair. Well, some is spilled on the hair on this guy, for example. Doesn't really matter. I'm going to paint the hair a gray, sort of gray-black on these guys as vampires go. Yeah. And I think this is all I have time for tonight. So I'm going to finish this video off and send it to YouTube, put it to bed, and I will see you next time, which I don't know when it'll be, but you know, if I get on a roll here, I might even put up a video tomorrow as well. Until then, this is Dakian signing.